Live, die, repeat. Live, die, repeat. Before we get to today's video, I want to take a moment to talk about Patreon. That's right, we are on Patreon now, and we have a bunch of tiers with a bunch of great rewards. You can subscribe and get things like early access to all reactions, depending on your tier, depends on which reactions you get early access to. You can vote on polls exclusive to patrons that will help determine future reaction series and more. You will get to just have various choices in terms of like getting to choose future reactions I react to, getting to choose first impressions I check out, all kinds of different rewards, and possibly more coming in the future. We're still new at this. We're still figuring things out. It's a process. It's a process. But we have multiple tiers, so whatever you would be able to donate, if you're able and willing to donate, is appreciated. It helps me out, it helps the channel out, it helps us grow. It's going to help just, standardly. It's just something new to check out. Plus, if you like getting the reactions early, that's also a plus. But it is optional. If you're unable to do it, that's completely fine. All reactions will come to YouTube just a little bit later, a week later or so. So that all being said, thank you as always so much, and let's get on with today's video. And with that being said, hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Edge of Tomorrow. So, this movie was a movie I decided to do for this week. It was not what I was originally planning. I was originally going to do a different movie. That's going to be pushed back. I'll do that in a few weeks because there's already plans for the next couple weeks. Or something like that. I'll figure it out. But either way. Sorry, I think someone's blasting their music outside. The reason we're doing this, the reason I'm choosing to just do this isn't a donation reward, is because of the movie we watched previously this week. See, we watched the movie All You Need Is Kill, which is a anime film that is an adaptation of a light novel. It's not the first adaptation of the light novel, though. I found out after, I realized it while watching, because I had heard about this, that the first adaptation of this light novel into film was actually in 2014. And it was with an American film that ended up being Edge of Tomorrow. Now, I don't know how accurate this is to the original light novel. I don't know how accurate All You Need Is Kill was. I don't know. I did look up, after watching All You Need Is Kill, some comparisons between the original light novel and that movie. But I didn't see anything on this movie and how it compares. So it's going to be interesting to see this. But for those who didn't watch my reaction to All You Need Is Kill, I would definitely suggest going to do so. One, because it's a phenomenal film. And two, because I feel like it'd be a fun way to view these movies. Checking out the one from this year and then going and watching the 2014 one. That's how I'm doing it. So, yeah. I would definitely suggest going to watch that one first. But for this one, Edge of Tomorrow, I'm assuming it follows at least a mostly similar storyline. I do believe, from what I remember when this movie was coming out, that there is a more military aspect to it, which, from what I know of the original light novel, is more accurate to that. I'm assuming Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt are the KG and, oh god, what is her name? KG and Rita? Rita, I believe, yeah.
They're this movie's the Americanized versions of them. Um, I'm very curious to see how this goes because they're in the light novel, KG is supposedly like a soldier and everything. While in All You Need Is Kill, he was kind of like this nerdy little kid who hadn't really been a soldier and only starts like fighting and stuff because of Rita. And Rita in the light novel was a soldier for far longer, and she had a huge amount of kills of these aliens for years and years and years prior to the time loop stuff even starting. So I'm very curious to see how things are different here comparatively, especially because, America made it. Um, Tom Cruise as an actor is one of those actors who's kind of hit or miss with me. Um, some movies I think he's really good in. Like he's really good. And then there's other movies I see him in and it's just like, eh. I don't think I've ever seen him where he's like bad. But sometimes I'm just like not really that impressed. I'm just kind of like, when it comes to him. And then Emily Blunt is an actress I'm usually very impressed with, no matter what role she's doing, whether it be Quiet Place or Devil Wears Prada. She's just so good, and she's kind of chameleon like. She can like blend into like any kind of role, whatever she needs to. A lot of her roles are very different from what I've seen. I mean, hell, she was in wasn't she Tempest in the My Little Pony movie? Like that's insane to think about because that's a very different role than those other roles I mentioned too. Um and don't be surprised by that. There's a lot of celebrities in the My Little Pony movies, both the theatrical one and then the newer one that was on Netflix. Liev Schreiber was the main villain in that movie. So it's like, yeah. And he's known for stuff like the Scream movies or X-Men Origins or whatever else. And then the newer one had the likes of James Marsden and Vanessa Hudgens and Ken Jeong. So it's like, don't be surprised that Emily Blunt was in the My Little Pony movie. Um, but yeah, I'm very excited to see like again how this compares. I obviously don't expect it to be as like visually stunning as All You Need Is Kill because it All You Need Is Kill is animation. And animation can get away with a lot more like stunning visuals and color work and whatnot. So I don't expect this to be like that. I'm just hoping that it's still like, very good, very interesting. I'd like to see what kind of themes it tackles comparatively, especially if it is more focused on the militaristic side. And yeah, I definitely want to see the aliens. That's the big thing. I want to see how they look compared to the All You Need Is Kill movie, and I'm kind of curious too with like how they're said to look in the light novel because apparently in the light novel they're said to look more like frogs, like mutated frogs almost, which is fascinating to me because they don't look anything like that in All You Need in the anime movie. So yeah, I think we should just get on with this and see what this movie has in store. I'm very excited and hopefully it ends up being good. The one last thing I'll say is I think when this movie came out, I think I heard that it got kind of mixed reviews. I definitely had heard some people who didn't like it, but then I've also heard some people who did. So I mean, who knows what that's going to end up meaning for me, of course, because as I've stated plenty of times on this channel, my views tend to be different than most people's anyway. But let's get into this, see what we have in store.
Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out.
Welcome to the Afterthoughts, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I looked it up because I wanted to be, sure. I wanted to find out for sure. Apparently, this movie actually was much better received than I realized. I swear I thought when this first came out back in 2014, mind you, that was like 12 years ago. I swear I thought I had seen that, like, it got a mixed reception. Maybe that's just what I was seeing through, I don't know, social media and whatnot at the time. Um, because when you are on social media, you do see kind of a skewed view of like an overall take on movies, games, etc. Especially because the algorithms usually just show you like people either you're connected to or pages that you follow and stuff like that. So it's going to be kind of a skewed perception. Apparently this movie was exceptionally well received. Like, I'm talking like over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Which, as always, take with a grain of salt, form your own opinions, all that, yada yada. But still, that's really genuinely impressive. And honestly, it deserves it. It's a great movie. It's a really great movie. I'm going to say right off the bat, I do not think it's as good as the anime version. Like, and the one of the biggest reasons why is obviously the art and animation, allowing for some mind-blowingly spectacular visuals. That's the biggest reason. But also, I think I preferred Rita as the main character in the anime film compared to this. Like, don't get me wrong. Rita was great in this. Emily Blunt did a fantastic job. Her strength, her also, anxiety and fears surrounding everything, but her stubbornness to prove herself after everything she's already gone through. She has so much depth and character to her, and I love that. It makes her feel like just a great fleshed out character. And honestly, I might want to say this was one of my favorite Tom Cruise performances because he wasn't this cool action badass right from the start. He had to build up to that. He had to, earn that. At the start of this movie, he's a coward. He's a cowardly idiot who's barely getting by, being thrust into this situation against his will. Not only the time loop bullshit, but just everything. Being even thrust into, this war that he's not supposed to be fighting in. As punishment from, let's be honest, a vindictive, kind of shitty general. He's forced into this purely because he refused to go along with the plans to cover this on the front lines in the way that he normally covers this kind of stuff. Because he's not normally on the front lines, and that's just not safe for him because he's not a trained soldier. And so, yeah, it's... And then he, fucking blackmailed the general, which doesn't help, but... It's like, the general is kind of a piece of shit. He is. He's a terrible person. So it's really not surprising to me that he would do something like that. But yeah, it's... And the instant, like, he gave the thing at the end, near the end, to him, and it's like, oh yeah, you guys can go, I knew that was like a trick. Because he did literally the same thing at the beginning of the film. He's literally like, oh, you don't have to go tomorrow. He's walking him out, everything seems fine. It's like, oh, by the way, arrest this man. It's like, he literally pulled the same trick again. It's like, I knew that was going to happen. The supporting cast were all pretty great too. Like, obviously Brendan Gleeson's always phenomenal in like everything he's in. But Bill Paxton as Farrell was really great. I really loved his role. He did a great job at playing like the, I guess you could call it, overzealous sergeant who's just like way too into his job and way into commanding people. He's definitely that kind of like hard ass type of guy. Um, which works. Like you see this in a lot of war movies. You see this in a lot of like just military movies in general and stuff. Where it's like you always have like that hard ass sergeant or commander or whatever who's just like way too excited to boss people around. It's a very common trope. Um, and they're usually kind of dicks, but they can at least be entertaining dicks. I also like all of the J Squad. Like all of them were like really cool characters. We got to know them all. Not anywhere near as much as our main cast, of course, but they were good supporting roles. And like the two of them who sacrificed themselves, that was like really heroic and like wonderful. See, like there's no getting around it. That was just heroic and wonderful. It was just like a really fantastically um like great thing to do. Not I mean not that like it ever should have come to that, but it did. And it's like you have to give them all the props for that. The time loop aspect to this is done pretty much exactly as it is in the anime film, with one notable exception. In the anime film, both Keiji and Rita were connected with the with Daryl, the plant alien life form that was causing all of this in that version. And in that, because of that, whenever Keiji or Rita died, they would both reset. It wasn't a situation like here where you have Rita having been able to reset in the past, but she doesn't have that anymore. And what was his name? Hold on, I still have the thing up here. Tom Cruise is. I keep wanting to say Keiji, but I know that's not William Cage. Oh, they did that on purpose. I just got that because the character's name is Keiji in the original light novel and the newer anime movie. But here they're not going to call Tom Cruise Keiji. So they have his last name and the name he's referred to throughout the film being Cage. That's really clever, actually. That's really smart. That is probably the best possible way they could have handled that. I actually really think that was a great Americanization for the name there. But Cage here is going through the loops, but he has to keep reminding Rita every time and telling her of what's going on. And that's a notable difference here. Trying to tell everybody else is something that happened in the anime movie as well, and I assume probably the original light novel. And them not believing and, all of that shit. But the certain circumstances and whatnot can be a little bit different. There's also like obviously the difference in like the setup with the characters, because here Cage is this military media expert who reports on all of this, who has obviously great respect for the military, but has no like actual like combat training in any way. He's not a combatant, and he's never meant to be. But he gets forced into this. He's literally forced into combat on the front lines against his will because of what is being like referred to as desertion, which is not technically the case. It's just a piece of shit general who can't like who's trying to force him into shit as it is, and then gets angry that he gets blackmailed, which that fair enough, but but in the and then Rita, of course, is like the veteran badass who's like already killed hundreds of these things. But then in the anime movie, Keiji he's not only not like part of the military in any real way. He's just not really connected to much of any of this. He's just kind of like his own dude doing his own thing. And he gets roped in because he ends up getting connected to it all too. Rita is a young recruit in the anime movie. She's not really been on the front lines of all of this, hasn't gotten the suits down and everything. But she's definitely not like even as inexperienced as Cage is in this one. So yeah, it's very different with the setups for the characters, which is fine because when you have a live action movie and when you're doing it a lot differently, it's going to be a little different. I don't know exactly how it compares to the original light novel. I do know that the original light novel is much more militaristic than the 2026 anime movie is. And this was much more militaristic than that. So I definitely feel like there's that aspect in it. The ending played out very similarly, though. It wasn't exactly the same, but it was very similar. And yeah, I really liked the alien designs because they definitely weren't exactly the same as in the anime movie, but they're definitely not how I read them described as from the light novel. It's like they're much more similar to the ones you see in the anime movie, which I'm assuming that the 2026 one took the designs to a degree from this. But the ones in here are actually kind of scarier. Like, genuinely. The alien creatures in this one are a little bit more scary because of the way they move. They're a lot faster. They're a lot more like erratic in their movements. And they seem like just more, I don't know if I'd say more creepy, but more intimidating. While the aliens in the 2026 movie are much more alien in design, they look less mechanical. But they're, and they are very terrifying still. They're very intimidating and scary, but in a different way. They're kind of more like, these things are freaky and I just don't understand them kind of scary. While in this movie, it's more like, oh, these things are killing machines. They are out to get me kind of scary. I hope I'm explaining that right. I'm explaining it the best I can, at least. Never been great at that, but oh well. The suits, the jackets are pretty accurate between the two. They're much more, again, militaristic here with all the guns and whatnot. In the 2026 film, they're much more sci-fi, I guess, is a way of putting it. Obviously, both of these movies are very science fiction, but they're more like these kind of almost goofy space suits that have militaristic applications, but they're not like what you typically think of in terms of, oh, this is a militaristic battle suit. That's what this movie does. This is like, oh, those are like military battle suits for sure. um I thought this was just a really good movie. I thought it was really well handled. Again, I like the looping. I like how it affected Cage's emotional state and his mindset. He was very clearly having mental issues with it. His mental health was dive bombing at points. And yeah, that's what it should be like. And I'm glad we didn't see all the loops as well, because it's like we're at a point where it's like, oh, this seems like it's the furthest we've gone, and then we find out, oh no, he's been here multiple times. Like with the entire helicopter incident. It's like, oh, we thought this was the furthest they've gone up to this point. But then you find out, oh no, we've been here multiple times, and every time you start the helicopter, you die. And yeah, I liked that revelation because it allows us to show that this has been taking its toll on him to the point where he's even hiding this information now, hiding how long it's been for him. We don't even know how many loops he's been through. We just know it's been a lot, possibly even as much or more than what was shown in the anime movie, which was just below 100, I believe. So yeah, that was really well done. Um, I I feel like some people could see the romance in this as being a little tacked in, because like by the end, it's like, oh, she gives him the kiss, and it's like, oh, where did that come from? But it's like this kind of thing does happen in the anime movie as well. I don't know if it's like I don't know if the original light novel tackles this, but it feels more believable in the 2026 film because of the fact that both of them are going through these loops. Both of them are experiencing that. Here, it's like they're not both experiencing it. Like Rita in this version is just straight up isn't experiencing it at all. And so the that last loop where she's like they've known each she's known him, mind you, in the within the scope of this last loop for like a day. So her connecting to him there and like kissing him and saying like I wish I had more time to know you and stuff. You're a good man. It's like it feels a little less believable than in the anime movie where again they're both going through it the entire time and their relationship feels much more like earned. That's probably my only real big issue with this film. And honestly, considering that's such a minor part of it, I I think that's a great thing that that's the biggest problem. I also like that, like, despite all the, action against the mimics and everything, we also get, like, some action against even the military, like when they're trying to escape and everything after the general gives them the device. Um, I feel like the doctor who also knew about what happened with her and Verdun, with Rita, and is like completely knowledgeable about the biology and everything. He, I think, is supposed to be like the scientist girl who's seen in the anime movie for like two scenes. I think that they're supposed to be similarly to the same character or something like that. They're not exactly the same, and their roles aren't exactly the same. The scientist girl is someone that neither of them really know ahead of time in the anime film. They just heard of her. And here, it's like Rita knows this guy well ahead of time. So yeah, there's that aspect. Um, but yeah, this was definitely a very different version of the same story. And it very much did feel like the same story, just, switched around a bit. Obviously, with Cage being the main character instead of Rita and various other things. And I didn't mind that. Like, normally I would probably be against the idea of, like, oh, we're going to switch around, like, the female character being the main character and have it be the male character instead. But to be fair, the anime movie is the most recent adaptation. So in the original light novel and in this version, Keiji or Cage is the main character. It's only in the newest version that that's swapped around. But even in this, at least, I don't know too much about again the light novel. But Rita still gets to shine. She is absolutely still like a massively important and likable character. She's still like super strong and extremely skilled and just as important to the missions as Cage is. So yeah, it's a big deal to have both of them there. And for her being, the veteran who's more used to all of this too, she's the one who has to teach him and train him. Like, I love that. I love that the main leading female character is the one who's training the male character to be a badass. That she's the OG badass of this movie. It's great to see. So yeah, this was great. I'm probably gonna just be repeating myself if I continue at this point. Um, but I would love to hear your thoughts. Hopefully you watched the All You Need Is Kill reaction first. And I would like to know your thoughts on both of these movies comparatively as well. Let me know like which one you liked more and for what reasons, and just how you found them comparatively in terms of their themes and ideas and general just scale and scope and all. Let me know your thoughts. But for now, thank you so much for tuning in. Reminder that this next week on Patreon is the end of the month movie week. If you are watching this on YouTube, it'll also be this next week. But for Patreon, that means Monday the 25th through Friday the 29th. For those on YouTube, that is Monday the 1st through Friday the 5th. And this month's movie week theme is animated films for our animation month. So yeah, we will be getting to that next week, all animated movies. That's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you've been enjoying the animation month in general, the various animated films we've already touched on, and just other animations we've tackled over the course of the weeks. I guess from here, we'll just end the video. So thank you all again so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See you all next time.